Hey guys, it's Nicole. I'm back with another video. And throughout this video, if I'm clearing my throat a lot or coughing, I'm kind of at the end point of getting over a cold. Like, I was really bad a couple of days ago and it's kind of gotten better today, but that's why. If I'm like clearing my throat or coughing, I'm still kind of like at the end of still kind of getting over it. So, what are you gonna do? The show must go on, as they say. So, today's video is going to be about a book, and like I've been doing, I'm sure I got this comment from one person offline, but I got this comment that it kind of seems like a lot of my videos were just, I never had anything bad to say about the books I read. And that's why, and in my head, I was going in order. Like, I was like, here are the books that I absolutely loved, and like, here's the things I wanted to talk about that I loved about these books. And then I'm gonna go into other books that maybe I didn't like so much. And like, that's how the order was going in my head. But maybe it came off as like, I never have anything bad to say about books. So hopefully, the last two videos and this video will kind of clear that up, because I'm not always perfectly positive about books. I definitely have things I dislike. So, that being said, I don't hate this book that I'm going to talk about today. I had a fun time reading it. I'll explain why I didn't like it when I get into it. But basically, this wasn't one of my favorite books. I picked it up because I loved the title, and and if you watch my videos, you know that I'm really big on title. Like, there's just something about the title that usually will like get me to read something. I don't know why that is. It's just how I am. But I picked this up a while ago. I read this book last year, and I kind of feel a little, like, it's not my favorite. I don't think it's terribly written. It's just not my personal favorite. So the book is called The Hunting Wives, and I loved the color because it's a very, very bright blue, and it's very, like sticks out, you know. And I loved this because these are lipstick, like, little, almost like little bullets, basically, like, and then there's a real bullet right there. And I don't know why I saw this and thought, ooh, like a secret society of women, like doing something like spies or like espionage or something cool like that. It's not that at all. I don't know why I thought it was when I first looked at it. But the back kind of doesn't help, because the book is a thriller, and I am kind of attracted to that kind of stuff usually. That I really like thrillers. And I don't know, the book kind of, obviously the back doesn't want to give anything away, so let me read the back and you'll see what I mean. Sophie O'Neill left behind an envy-inspiring career and the stressful competitive life of big city Chicago to settle down with her husband and young son in a small Texas town. It seems like the perfect life, with a beautiful home in an idyllic rural community. But Sophie soon realizes that life is now too quiet, and she's bored and restless. Then she meets Margot Banks, an alluring socialite who is part of an elite clique secretly known as the Hunting Wives. Sophie is completely drawn to Margot and is swept into her mysterious world of late-night target practice and dangerous partying. As Sophie's curiosity gives way to full-blown obsession, she slips further away from the safety of her family and deeper into this nest of vipers. When the body of a teenage girl is discovered in the woods where the Hunting Wives meet, Sophie finds herself in the middle of a murder investigation, and her life spirals out of control. So I don't know, I think maybe because the back isn't like super obvious, it's very subtle, kind of alluding to like, ooh, what happened? And the cover, I don't know, I just kind of like, I guess I was picturing like more like I said, spy, like espionage, like Ocean's 8, if you've ever seen it. It's Ocean's 11, but with women instead of men. And I don't know, I guess that's kind of what I pictured, and that's why I was like, oh my god, that sounds so much fun. I love that kind of stuff. So I think that's why I picked it up, but it's not that at all. It's definitely a thriller. It's definitely got the intrigue and the what's gonna happen, who done it, you know, it's definitely that kind of book. But I'm going to read the first page of the first chapter, and then I'll go into a little brief description of why I didn't like the book. And I won't give out any spoilers, I promise. I will, like I do, always say, okay, now I'm going to go into spoilers kind of thing. But we're not at that part yet. So I'm just going to read the first page of the book and just kind of give, like, you know, an idea of what the book sounds like. So in each chapter, it also states, basically, like, the chapter names are all dates. So it's chapter 1 is Tuesday, March 13th, 2018. Things are different tonight, electric and humming. There's a charge building in the air, crackling and buzzing through me, and I can pinpoint the moment this morning when everything shifted. When my flat, dull routine of walking from room to room, collecting wads of wilted laundry, became something more luminous, something pulsing with an energy of anticipation, so that even then, as I stuffed the washer with clothes and shook a thin layer of soap flakes over the top, I knew my day would follow a different course than the one usually mapped out by me, a stay-at-home mom. I'm at the local wine bar now waiting for Aaron. We're meeting for happy hour, and I'm outside at one of the bistro tables, the light from the sun dancing in my glass of Chardonnay, the taste buttery and sharp on the back of my tongue. And there's another sentence, but it goes into the next page, and like I said, I don't usually do that. So, I don't know, it doesn't really give you much, I guess. Like, normally the first page, I guess, kind of gives you a little bit more of, like, a insight of what the rest of the book's going to sound like. In a way, it kind of does, actually, because it's very, very, very descriptive. Very descriptive, talking about what it's like to walk through the rooms, the dull routine, collecting wads of wilted laundry, and, you know, stuffed the washer, thin layer of soap flakes. Like, it's all very, very, very descriptive, and that's kind of how the whole book is. So if you're not into that, I don't recommend this book for you. It's very descriptive. There's a lot of describing words, lots of adjectives in this book. But the reason I had such a hard time reading this, and I'm going to be honest, it was I at some points really wanted to just throw the book across the room and just not read it anymore. But I was determined to find out who the killer was because I had no idea. She did get me there. The author, May Cobb, she definitely got me there. I definitely did not guess who the killer was. So kudos. But I guess the reason I had such a hard time reading this book was the main character is just... there's no redeeming qualities about her. Like, I just can't read this book because it's like you're reading the book and you're almost like wanting her to succeed, but she's kind of a terrible person. Like, the main character of this book sucks. She sucks as a person. If she was a real person, I would stay so far away from her. Like, I can't even imagine even wanting to associate with someone like her. She makes terrible decisions. She constantly makes promises she can't keep. She's constantly doing all these kinds of things, and that just... if she just thought for a second or even learned from any past mistake, she wouldn't do these things. And it's just so hard to watch because she's a woman in her 30s. It's not like this is a teenager I'm reading about. This is a woman, a full-grown person, where at this point in your life, it is on you to be not immature. Like, you need to be mature. You need to not keep doing things that you would do as a teenager. You kind of need to actually, like, grow up and unlearn your bad patterns. But she is a teenager in an adult's body with the full range of what adults are allowed to do. And it drives me absolutely crazy because so many people get hurt around her because of these decisions. And it's so infuriating that every single time I get to something that she does, I was like, I just can't. I want to throw the book across the room. I'm done. But I finished the book. And I will admit, I did appreciate the thriller mystery of it all, for sure. I definitely did. So, it's kind of my take on it. This is kind of like a mini review, I guess. I mean, if you're into thrillers and mysteries, you might like this. If you are thinking this is some cool spy espionage, it's not. It's all about small town gossip with women who are bored out of their minds. Sorry, told you. who are bored out of their minds in their small Texas town and create mountains out of molehills. Let's put it that way. And it escalates so far. Like, it's okay, like, if it's just gossip and it just stays between you guys, but when things escalate so far that you guys are actually doing crazy things and a teenager's body is found, I don't know. This whole book was hard to read for me, personally. So it's definitely not my favorite. I don't dislike it. I don't think it's badly written. It's just not for me. So I personally don't recommend it based on my personal preferences. But if you like any of the things that I've described here, maybe you'd like it. So who knows? So that's the portion that I'm gonna leave to vagueness, and I'm gonna now go into spoilers. So if you don't want any spoilers, now is the time to end the video, and thank you so much for watching. Now, the things that I was talking about that I just want to talk about this character so much. So the main character's name is Sophie O'Neill. Her name is Sophie O'Neill, and she's married to her husband Graham, and they have a son. I think he's like a very young toddler. His name is Jack, and it's so hard because at the beginning of the book, Sophie and Graham have a beautiful marriage, a beautiful relationship. You know, they've moved out here and she's decided not to be like the corporate person she was. She wants to spend more time with her son. And so Graham goes to work every day and she stays home with their son most of the time. But she still does, I think she has a blog. I think Sophie has a blog. So she still does that. She still has things that she has to keep her occupied. But it just gets so hard because when she meets Margot, like mentioned on the back of the book, Margot Banks, at a local neighborhood party, it's almost like she falls in love with Margot. Like, it can't... Full-blown obsession is almost a light way to put the whole situation, because Sophie goes from a person who is well put together and cares for her son and loves and respects her husband to this cheating, losing custody of her son, always has to be there for Margot, always coming home late person. And I'm just like, I can't even read this. Like, I feel like I'm watching a train wreck. This is so hard to look at. Like, she was making conscious choices. It's not like she was randomly put into a situation where she had no control over things. She was completely in control. And so she was doing all these things that like, she cheated on Graham. Like, this big spoiler. Like I said, if you're past this point, you've accepted the fact that I'm going to reveal spoilers. But, and it's not even that bad. It's even worse than just cheating. She cheated on Graham with an underage boy. Yes, you heard that, a minor. So she literally has an affair, and I say affair meaning it's a one-time cheating thing. She cheats on her husband with a high school football player. She's a 30-something-year-old woman. I'm 27. I look at high school boys and they look like absolute babies to me. The fact that she even let anyone of that age near her tells me all I need to know about her. I hate her. I hate this character so much. And there is something to be said, I think, about characters, like the main characters that like you maybe don't really like. They're kind of an anti-hero, I guess. But it kind of, for me, was way too far with this. Like, she's not an anti-hero. She's a villain. She ends up cheating on her husband with an underage boy, and she ends up constantly making promises to Graham that she'll come home early, knowing she won't keep it. Or maybe she's convinced herself that she will keep it, except that every single time in the past, she hasn't kept it. Margot and the other women of the neighborhood are like, come on, Sophie, we're gonna go out tonight, you come with us. And so Sophie's like, okay, Graham, I'll be home at so-and-so time, like whatever. I will text you when I'm on my way home. Stays out all night. And every time he gets upset about it, because he's worried about her safety, and he's very confused because this is very unusual behavior for her. She promises she won't do it again, and guess what? She does it again. And she does it over and over and over and over again. Throughout the book, she promises she won't do it again, and then she does it again. And it's so, so infuriating. I'm just like, I can't look at this anymore. The book ends in a good way because Graham leaves her and takes their son, and I'm like, good, you deserved it. You are a piece of garbage. I can't stand her anymore. Like, I'm glad she has nothing to do with Graham or her son anymore, because she is, and don't get me wrong, she did have a hard upbringing. In the beginning of the book, it says her dad left. I don't even think she ever knew her dad. And her mom was so like flaky and not very maternal at all that she called her mom by her first name. She's never called her mom. So to be fair, she never really had a healthy relationship with the two people in your life that you're supposed to have any relationship with. So to be fair, she kind of had a rough start to life, but that doesn't give you permission to do whatever you want and constantly hurt people because you never worked on yourself. If you can't tell, I feel very passionate about this because I remember reading this book going, I just can't with her. I'm so done. At the end, I was so happy that things didn't work out for her. I was like, good, you deserve it. So that's kind of my problem with the book. I don't think it's poorly written. I think it's very descriptive. Like you saw in the beginning of the video with the first page of the book. It's very, very descriptive. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just a style. It's a choice in style. It's a little bit much to me. I feel like there could be a little bit less of those describing scenes. It's like, everything is being so described to the point that I'm now taken out of it. Instead of feeling like I'm feeling in the situation, it's so much description that I'm like, okay, now I'm out of this because this all just, it's too much. So I don't think she's a bad writer. I don't think it's poorly written at all. I think it was the plot is really good. Like it's very coherent and you see where the plot's going and then it twists and turns and it's good. I just have problems with the character and some of the character and the style of the writing, I guess, is what I mostly had a problem with this book. So it's not a bad book. I don't think it's terrible. I really think that if you are into mysteries or into thrillers, there's a good chance you'll like this book, especially if you're not bothered by how much of a terrible person the main character is. I just have a hard time connecting to those characters because anti-heroes are one thing. To me, this person's a full-on villain. She just is. And I have a hard time relating to her at all. And so seeing the entire story from her perspective gets frustrating at so many points for me. So that's really all I have to say about that book. It's pretty good. Honestly, I don't regret reading it. Let me put it that way. I don't regret reading it. I probably won't read it again. It was way too frustrating the first time. But that is all for this week's video. I really appreciate if you guys watch my channel. I have, I'm like over 250 subscribers and that's still so wild to me. And seriously, to everyone who checks out my videos or my channel, really thank you so much because this is just so fun for me. Like, I just really like doing this. I like being able to come home and just be like, okay, good, now I can do this. I can come have fun and do this. And it's such a fun thing for me to do. And I like that there's other people out there that appreciate or like what I do in any kind of way. So thank you so much for watching. I will be uploading every Friday morning. If things change and I start to upload more frequently, I mean, we'll see. I want to, but life keeps happening. So we'll just see. If you want to keep up to date on that, subscribe to my channel and you'll get notified as soon as I upload something new. And if that's on a different day than Friday, then I was able to start doing videos more frequently. So I really appreciate you watching all the way through and, interacting with my video in any way. And I want to thank everyone so much, and I will see you all next week.